In this next lesson, we're going to explore the Find and Replace functionality built into CorelDRAW X4. When you think of Find and Replace, typically you think of word processing applications where you're searching for text and replacing that text with something else. Yes, you can do that here in CorelDRAW X4, but you can also search for objects and their properties or their effects, their colors, their special effects. We're going to do all of that in this lesson, and we're going to continue to use our previewing document from the previous lesson. If you've skipped to this lesson, however, and you do have the exercise files and you'd like to follow along, go to your Lesson 8 folder, open up previewing2.cdr. I'm on page 3. Now when we do a find or a find and replace here in CorelDRAW, it's for the page we're looking at. So I'm on page 3 here where I do have some text and I've got some graphics. When we go up to the Edit menu now and come down to Find and Replace, you're going to see several options. Find Objects. This is just simply going to locate objects according to your selections. Or if you need to replace those objects with something else, you can go to Replace Objects. Down here we can locate text using the Find Text function. And if we need to replace that text with something else, we can use the Replace Text function. So let's start with finding text. This looks very familiar to you if you've used any word processing application. Here you type in what it is you're looking for. If you need to match the case exactly or whole words, you can do that as well. I'm going to search for $5. And when I hit Find Next, you can see what happens. It actually gets highlighted or selected for me here. So it's very easy to spot. Even though it was faded in the background in my drawing here, it's easily found and easily recognizable. So if that's what I was looking for, I'm done. I click the Close button. Or if I want to see if there's any other occurrences of $5, I hit Find Next. Nope, there aren't any. So I click OK. I close this up. And I found my $5. Notice that it's still selected here, so I could start making changes to it if I wanted to. If the change is just to change the denomination, in that case I'd probably want to go up to the Edit menu, down to Find and Replace, and choose Replace Text. This is very similar to Find, except I've got an extra field. What do I want to replace it with? So I'm going to type in $5, and I want to create a $1 certificate, so $1. I don't need to match case or whole words. I click on Find Next, highlights it. Now I've got a decision. Do I want to replace that with my $1, or do I just want to go through the entire page here, finding any occurrence of $5 and replace it with 1? That's where I'd use Replace All. I just want to do the one replace, so I click Replace. It doesn't find any more. That's what this means when I see End of Document Reach. I click OK. I close it up, and look at that. I've got a $1 gift certificate now. Easy as that. So that's looking for text. And if, again, you've used word processors before, you're probably pretty familiar with this. What you might not be familiar with is locating objects. Check this out. We go up to the Edit menu, come down to Find and Replace, and let's start with just finding or locating objects. This will launch our Find wizard. So I'm going to click on Find Objects. The wizard starts up, and I have some options here. I can start a new search. If I've done a search already, I can save it and then load it up anytime right from here in this wizard. I haven't done that yet. Or I can find objects that match the currently selected object. You would have to select something first. So I'm going to begin a new search. It's already selected. I click Next. And look at this. Look at all the tabs here. I can search for object types, curves, rectangles, stars. Down below, I can be searching for text, artistic paragraph, or text on a path. Dimensions, look at that, linear, angular, callouts, connector lines, and under others I've got bitmaps, OLE objects, and 3D objects. So I'm going to keep this simple to start with. Let's see if we have any rectangles. I'm going to click on rectangles, and if I wanted to select multiples, I could choose to find any type of object that's selected, not every object that's selected, so it could be either or. I'm going to just choose rectangles and click Next. Rectangles is selected. If I want to specify properties for the rectangle, I click this button. And here I can choose corner roundness, exact widths or heights for my rectangle. But if I'm not concerned about that, I just want to find any rectangle, I just click Cancel here and continue on by clicking the Next button. It summarizes what I've selected, rectangles. If I wanted to save this for future use, that's where I do it. We'll do that momentarily. Right now, let's just click Finish. Well, right now you can see that my big rectangle in the background is selected. It's found it right away. Are there any more? I click Find Next. No, that's the only rectangle on this page. So I click OK. Now, if I wanted to edit this search, I could, or start a brand new one. I'm going to click Edit Search right from here and just go back to the beginning where I begin a new search. Click Next. This time I'm going to deselect rectangles and look for curves. Now curves, as you know, can be any object that's been converted to curves. It could be a freehand drawing. And when I click Next, I can specify properties for the curve if I wanted to. In fact, I can choose exact numbers of nodes, or if I click in this checkbox, change it from exactly to more than or less than the number of nodes I enter over here. But I'm going to cancel that. I don't need to specify nodes. I just want to find all the curves. I click Next. There it is, summarized for me. I click Finish. And there's the first one. And you can see it's actually selected for me. Find Next takes me to the next one. Any more? Sure enough, this big one that looks like a rectangle is actually a curve. Any more? Yes, I've got numerous curves inside my logo here. And each time I hit Find Next, it's highlighting something different. If I click on Find All, it says one or more objects you want to find are within groups. So in this case, we would have to ungroup all of these items. Clicking Yes does that. And now you can see all of the curved objects are selected when I click Find All. So I can edit that search or just close this up and start over if I wanted to. I'm going to deselect everything and go back to my Edit menu now, down to Find and Replace, and this time we'll go to Replace Objects. Now when I come in here, I get the Replace wizard, very similar, but here's where I choose what it is I want to replace. Is it a color model, or a palette? For example, if I wanted to take all of the colors using the CMYK color model and change it to grayscale, just for printing on a black and white printer, for example,